he stated 4 things that all of us will go through on the judgment day. Those 4 things, I know them and you know them. So we are going to mention them and examine ourselves on it and see if we fit in it or not. So assuming this masjid is closed, that you are going to be asked those 4 questions. If you answer it correctly, you go out. If you cannot answer it correctly, you remain in this masjid. How many of us will go out of this masjid? Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is saying, لن تزول قدم عبد يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن 4 خصال. None of you here will move a feet except you are able to answer 4 questions. 4. عن عمره فيما أفناه. The years that Allah Almighty had given you. You lived on this earth for 60 years, 80 years, 90. What did you use those years for? I'm sure a lot of people cannot answer this question. You have your own life. You know how you lived it. But some cannot answer it because they didn't use it, what? Profitably. They use it misbehaving. They use it doing things contrary to the teachings of Islam. So they cannot answer this question. Subhanallah. وَعَنْ شَبَابِ فِيمَا أَبْلَى. You are given a certain age, a youthful age, from let's say the age 20 to the 40 years. What did you spend those years in? You see, you get to a time that you cannot do anything for yourself. That is not part of it. We are asking you of the time that you are able to do everything for yourself, the period that you are so strong that you can manipulate yourself and do whatever you want to do with your life. How profitable did you use that period for? وَعَنْ عِلْمِ مَاذَا عَمِلَ بِهِ. And the knowledge that Allah had given you, what did you use it for? You see here, that Imam, that Allah Almighty had blessed with Quran. And they say most Imams will be heading towards the hellfire. Despite his Quran. Don't let that deceive you. Because some were giving the Quran, and when they were using the Quran to let people feel that they are superior. Instead of them to use it to please Allah Almighty, no, they are using the Quran that Allah had given them to please human beings. On the judgment day, such people will be called by Allah Almighty and will be asked, I have given you Quran, what did you use it for? He says, I used to teach kids in the masjid, I read Salatul Taraweeh, Salatul Tahajjud, I do read it at events, and so on and so forth. And Allah Almighty will say, you are a liar. You do all this to please those people that you are doing it for. So you do that to let people say you are the best reader of Quran. You know what? At that moment when you were doing it to please those people, it's only less than 100 people that were sitting before you. It's only those people that knew that you know how to read Quran. Not everybody in New York knows that you know how to read Quran. But today, I'm doing you what will please you. The whole world from the era of Adam alayhi salam to the last person ever to be created on this earth are gathered. Read the Quran, please them, they will praise you, and you end up in the hellfire because you didn't do it for the sake of Allah Almighty. وَأَنْ عِلْمِهِ مَاذَا عَمِلَ بِهِ. And knowledge is not only the knowledge of Quran or the knowledge of Hadith. Any other knowledge that Allah Almighty had given you, you have to use it profitably. So it will profit people. So people will benefit from it. So it will raise the image of Islam. All of us here, we can use the knowledge that Allah had given us to one way or the other promote our religion. So that's the meaning of what did you use that knowledge for? Do you let people see Islam in you by your actions? Or you portray Islam as a terrorist religion? How do you let the outsider look at Islam in you? You are going to answer all this. And the final question, which is the most dangerous. I know even if we can answer all the three questions, as for this fourth question, nobody can answer it. Except the one that Allah Almighty had mercy on. Illa man rahima Rabbi. He says, وَعَنْ مَالِهِ مِنْ أَيْنَ اكْتَسَبَهُ وَفِيمَ أَنْفَقَهُ. All the wealth that Allah Almighty had given you, from the penny to the thousands, to the tens of thousands, to the hundreds of thousands, and to the millions of dollars, where did you generate them from? You are going to account for all this, all the money in your possession. From the first day you started to make money till the last day you live on this earth. All the money that you possess, you are going to account for everything where you get it from. Even in your normal life, you can sometimes have some money that you don't even know how you acquired it. Not to talk of standing before Allah Almighty and being asked to account for that. And mind you, if you acquire wealth from a haram source and you build properties with it, by all means you die one day. And Islamically, when you die, your kids will inherit what you left behind. To you, those wealth are haram. But the day you die, they inheriting it, they inherit halal. There is nothing wrong with it. All the questions, you are going to answer it. So don't do what you please your kids and go over there and be suffering. Because whatever you leave for them, look, even if you are dealing in a haram business, the day you die, all those wealth will be halal for your kids. You are going to suffer the consequences. And he says, after you are able, let's assume you are able to answer where you acquire all those wealth from. You are now going to tell Allah Almighty what you use those money for. من أين اكتسبه وفيما أنفقه. What did you use that money for? First of all, did you pay that which belongs to Allah from that money? There's a card that you're supposed to pay out. After that your neighbor that you know doesn't have anything to survive on, did you help him? Did you use that money to propagate Islam? Allah says, Jahidu fi sabilillahi bi amwalikum wa anfusikum. Use your wealth and your own self to strive in the cause of what? Allah Almighty. Did you do that? And there also, some people are also going to be in trouble. Because as soon as the Imam picks his mark up and says, Fi sabilillah, he gives $100,000. He's doing that not because he wants Allah Almighty to be pleased with him. He's doing that so that we say that he is the best contributor in this masjid. Just for having that thought will nullify your deed. And you become what? A mushrik by that. And Allah Almighty will ask you about that Yawm al-Qiyamah. And what are you going to say before Allah Almighty? So we ask Allah Almighty to guide us and to purify our heart, to do everything in His cause and for His sake. For when you do things for the sake of people or for people to praise you, my brother, فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. Wallahi, it will go like trash. You will not benefit from it. Anything that you do it for the sake of Allah, and Allah will bless it for you. All that we said that is right, we ask Allah Almighty to put it in the mizan of our hasanat. And the errors that we have committed, we ask Allah Almighty to forgive us. Ala wa sallu wa sallimu ala khayri khalqillah. محمد ابن عبد الله عليه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم. وقد أمركم الله بذلك في كتابه المبين حيث بدأ بنفسه وثنى بملائكته وثلث بكم فقال عز من قائل إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على عبدك ورسولك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. وارض اللهم عن الخلفاء الراشدين أبو بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي وعن بقية أصحابه أجمعين وأنا معهم بمنك وكرمك يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. فاذكروا الله العلي الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر. الله يعلم ما تصنعون وقوموا إلى صلاتكم يرحمكم الرحمن.